Chapter 102. As soon as he finished speaking, Meng Wuya's vision blurred and he fell head first onto the plate of food in front of him. By the time he woke up, a long time had passed. Xianxia had used a lot of medicine. Meng Wuya wanted to cry but had no tears to shed after being plotted against by his own disciple. After realizing the seriousness of the matter, Meng Wuya didn't even bother to wash his face and directly left High Heaven Pavilion to rush here. He was extremely regretful. If he had known that his disciple was so determined, he wouldn't have been so cheap as to provoke her impression of Yang Kai. Wasn't that just looking for trouble? Although his disciple had countless treasures that could help her avoid many dangers, this was still inside Black Wind Mountain. What if she encountered one or two powerful monster beasts that didn't know what to do and ate her? If he had followed along, he wouldn't have to worry about this at all. Meng Wuya really wanted to slap himself a few times. Who asked you to be so cheap? He was still 10 li away from the 9-in congregation ground, but Meng Wuya could already feel the cold yin qi coming from there. While in midair, he anxiously raised his head to look. He saw that the yin qi in the valley was surging, but it seemed to be bound by an invisible energy and couldn't escape. Seeing this, Meng Wuya's heart finally calmed down. The 9-in 8 locks formation had been activated, which meant that his disciple had safely arrived here. Phew, at least there weren't any big mistakes. Meng Wuya breathed heavily. Only the heavens knew how much he had been on the road these past few days. His heart had almost broken down. Not long after, Meng Wuya arrived outside the valley, but he didn't go in. He looked into the valley with rapt attention, but the yin qi inside was too heavy. He couldn't see or hear anything, and even his divine sense couldn't probe inside. Since the 9-in 8 locks formation had been activated, it meant that his disciple had already started. He just had to wait for her good news. Being bound by the formation, the people inside couldn't come out, and the people outside couldn't go in. Although Meng Wuya could break the formation, if he did, his disciple's efforts would be in vain. And I just have to wait. Meng Wuya consoled himself. This time he was wrong. The reason why Xianxia wanted to open the array ahead of time was not to deal with the 9th-in yuan condensing dew, but to deal with the bloody group situation. Meng Wuya didn't know that Xianxia was extremely weak right now, and Yang Kai was covered in blood. Both of them were in great danger. If he knew, he would definitely break the formation at all costs and slaughter Wen Fei Chen and the others inside 1,000 times over. You dare to even have ideas about this old man's disciple? Fuck your 18 generations of ancestors. Sometimes things were just so miraculous. It was so close yet so far away. In the valley, Yang Kai was still standing quietly in the same place, his back as straight as a javelin, waiting for the arrival of the powerful enemy. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Suddenly, the sound of clothes flapping could be heard all around them. He's finally here. Yang Kai's face gradually became dignified. He turned his head and looked at the place where Xianxia was hiding. He didn't know if he could survive this battle. But he had done his best, so he had no regrets. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. 3 figures almost simultaneously arrived at Yang Kai's side. Then, another person arrived. The first 3 were separation and reunion boundary experts of the bloody group. The last one was only at the Qi transforming 9th level, so his speed was naturally slower. After the 4 arrived, they didn't say anything. Instead, they stared at Yang Kai in shock. Because they found that in just an hour, this youth who was only at the initial element boundary 4th level actually had the strength of a peak initial element boundary expert. What was going on? Nu Lang's body was under his feet. His neck was broken, and his death was miserable. His eyes were bulging. Apparently, he didn't expect that he would die in this place. He died with his eyes wide open. In this valley where the cold wind blew, it made people feel creepy. Did you kill this person? A separation and reunion boundary expert of the bloody group asked. What about the most powerful person and your young master Long? Yang Kai didn't answer his question. Instead, he turned his head and looked around. He found that there was something wrong with the number of people. Originally, the bloody group had 7 people. In addition to Wen Fei Chen and Long Hui, the other Qi transforming boundary disciple had been killed by Xianxia's yin qi shackles. Therefore, there were only 4 people left. Humph, to deal with you, Hall Master Wen and young Master Long don't need to act. The person who spoke before coldly snorted. This person wasn't very old. He was about 25 to 26 years old and was in the prime of youth. Bloody group. Ha, you only know how to bully others. Yang Kai ridiculed. The youth's face was ruthless. To deal with you, I alone am enough. Although more than half of his strength had been sealed by the Yin-Chi shackles, he still had the foundation of a separation and reunion boundary expert. If he really wanted to fight, he would definitely be more powerful than a Qi-transforming boundary expert. How could he not deal with Yang Kai? It's useless to talk big. Why don't you try? Yang Kai looked at him contemptuously. He also felt that these people's strength had been greatly reduced. They couldn't compare to the pressure they gave him before. Moreover, the Yuan Qi fluctuations on their bodies were quite unstable. The 3 people who came first were estimated to have the same strength as Nu Lang. Even if they were strong, they wouldn't be much stronger. The one who came later was slightly weaker than Nu Lang. If it was one-on-one, Yang Kai was sure that he could win. As long as he killed one of them, then the rest would be much easier. Little brat, you are so arrogant. Let your grandfather teach you a lesson. The youth was really smart. Before he finished speaking, he was about to come forward. Seeing that the plan was about to succeed, as long as the youth came within 10 steps of him, Yang Kai would kill him even if he was injured. But at this moment, another separation and reunion boundary expert's voice sounded. Junior brother Yuan Lang, don't fall into his trap. The youth immediately stopped and looked at Yang Kai coldly. Then he said, Yes, Brother Kai. He is the only one here. We don't know where the girl is. She has many tricks, so we have to be careful. Moreover, this brat has the strength to kill Nu Lang. I'm afraid he has been pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. Quickly capture him and force him to tell us where the girl is. Brother Kai said with a vigilant look. He waved his hand and said, Let's go together. 4 against 1. And the opponent was a cultivator at the initial element realm. Even if he had some tricks, he wouldn't be able to use them. He would definitely be captured. For shadows moved almost at the same time. They surrounded Yang Kai in the north, south, east, and west. Their ferocious killing moves covered his head. Facing such a dangerous situation, Yang Kai wasn't afraid. He laughed and said, I told you that the blood group only knows how to bully people with numbers. You still don't admit it. Yuan Lang, the youth who had almost fallen into the trap, blushed. While releasing his killing moves, he angrily shouted, Stinky brat, you have a sharp tongue. Wait until I capture you. I will show you. Chapter 103. You don't have the qualifications. Yang Kai roared, his Yuan Qi burst out from his body, his whole body was like a burning fireball, emitting a threatening heat. While speaking, Yang Kai and Yuan Lang's palms collided. With a muffled sound, Yang Kai staggered back, while Yuan Lang let out a strange cry and flew back. Retreating 3 steps, Yang Kai instantly fell into the encirclement of the other 3 people. Seeing that the 3 attacks were about to hit him, Yang Kai hurriedly lowered his body, avoiding the attack of another separation and reunion boundary expert. At the same time, he exposed his back to the weakest blood group disciple. With an earth-shattering momentum, both of his palms were aimed at the chest of the most vigilant Brother Kai. It was this person who had just warned Yuan Lang, so he did not fall into Yang Kai's trap. Among the 4 people, he was the leader, so his strength was naturally the strongest. Even if his cultivation was sealed, he still had the strength of Qi transforming 2nd level. Therefore, Yang Kai made up his mind to kill him first. As long as he died, the remaining 3 people were nothing to be afraid of. In the time it took to take a breath, Kai Yang had already engaged in a confrontation with the 4 of them. Brother Kai saw that Yang Kai did not care about his own safety and could not help but frown. Although he did not know what Yang Kai wanted to do, he had a bad premonition in his heart. This pair of palms, there must be a hidden secret. Retreat. This person was also quite decisive. Although he didn't believe that Kai Yang could cause him any harm, for the sake of caution, he immediately retreated. At the same time, he raised his hand and sent out a palm strike towards Kai Yang, wanting to test his opponent's strength. His palms had not yet been pushed out, but he found that Yang Kai's mouth was showing a trace of a cold smile. Not good, I fell into his trap. In the next moment he saw that Yang Kai's palms were fluttering left and right, unexpectedly avoiding his block. With a fearless attitude, they were still aiming at his chest. His two palms would certainly hit him, but his own attack would also hit him. Was this an injury for an injury? Before he could finish his thoughts, Yang Kai's palms changed again. The two burning palms suddenly became blood red, as if there was some kind of liquid covering them. The temperature of the palms increased by another level. There was no way to dodge. Brother Kai's eyes flashed with a trace of ruthlessness, his yuan qi fiercely revolved. Let's see who will die after this palm. In any case, I am a separation and reunion boundary expert. Although most of my strength has been sealed, and I feel like a tiger that has fallen to the plains, how could the quality and density of my yuan qi be inferior to yours? Bang 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 sound. Senior Brother Kai's palm landed on Kai Yang's chest. At the same time, Kai Yang's two palms also landed on his own chest. In an instant, the yuan qi's guarding chest violently churned, as if his chest's feel, this kid's yuan qi is so pure. This person was shocked. He thought that if it weren't for the fact that his cultivation level was higher than his, he might have been injured by this palm. But before he could recover from his shock, he felt Yang Kai's palm once again emit a scorching heat. As the heat spread out, Brother Kai felt a sharp pain in his chest. He vaguely felt as if his body had been penetrated. His internal organs also started to churn. Get out of my way! Brother Kai flew into a rage. The power of his palm burst forth, and Yang Kai was no longer able to withstand it. He flew backwards like a rag sack. Yang Kai's body had not yet landed on the ground, but the weakest blood group disciple had already stabbed him with his sword. At the critical moment, Yang Kai twisted his body, and the sword directly pierced his shoulder, opening a bloody hole in his shoulder. This was not the end. Taking advantage of the fact that Yang Kai was injured, another separation and reunion boundary expert finally found the opportunity to kick Yang Kai's ribs, directly sending him flying. A moment ago, Yang Kai had dodged his attack, which made him feel somewhat ashamed. At this moment, he naturally did not show any mercy. At the same time Yang Kai was sent flying, a bottle suddenly slipped from his chest and fell to the ground. In the air, Yang Kai spat out a mouthful of blood and staggered to the ground. He looked at the bottle that fell from his chest, but he did not dare to go forward and pick it up. A flame suddenly appeared under his feet, and as fast as lightning, he disappeared into the jungle. Yuan Lang saw all of this and quickly rushed forward to pick up the bottle. Yang Kai's laughter came from afar. Ha ha, blood group, separation and reunion boundary, nothing more than this. Why did he run away? Several people from the blood group looked at each other in dismay. Yang Kai had let out a roar to attract them, and had been waiting here with an awe-inspiring and insufferably arrogant attitude. Originally, they thought that Yang Kai had something to rely on, but now he unexpectedly ran away. Wasn't this thunder big but the rain small? Several people really thought that he had some extraordinary means. Now, looking at the direction he ran, they could not help but snort. Chase, he is seriously injured, he absolutely won't be able to hold on for long. Yuan Lang bitterly swung his palm and fiercely said. He had suffered a small loss when he fought with Yang Kai. He did not expect that Yang Kai's palm would be so difficult to resolve. After he had resolved it, the battle was actually over. From the beginning to the end, only 3 breaths of time had passed, and the speed was so fast that it made people stunned. After saying this, Yuan Lang immediately chased in the direction of Yang Kai, and the others also hurriedly followed. But before they could run a few steps, the sound of a heavy object falling to the ground suddenly came from behind them. They turned their heads in surprise and saw that the strongest of them all, Senior Brother Kai, was actually lying on the ground, motionless, facing the yellow earth with his back to heaven and earth. Brother, what happened to you? Yuan Lang was surprised and asked, but did not get any response. What's going on? The one with the lowest strength was also confused. Just a moment ago, Brother Kai exchanged a blow with Yang Kai, but he should not have been seriously injured, right? The situation is not right. The third person frowned and hurriedly walked back. He turned the body of this senior martial brother over and suddenly exclaimed, "Ah! How is Brother Kai?" Yuan Lang came back and asked. He was stunned for a moment, because at this moment his brother's skin was red, and the blood under his skin seemed to be boiling. His eyes were bulging and he looked almost the same as Nu Lang's. At this moment, Brother Kai was not breathing. There was a finger-sized hole in his chest, and blood was gurgling out of it. "It's hot." The bloody group disciple who was holding Brother Kai quickly put down the body. Once the body hit the ground, it unexpectedly burst open, and hot blood sputtered out, sprinkling on the ground and steaming into a blood mist. The three people who were still alive were drenched from head to toe. Their blood was mixed with scorching primordial qi. The three people's expressions were extremely horrified. They did not expect that the strongest person in the group, Brother Kai, would die in such an inexplicable way. How did he die? When did Yang Kai kill him? The three people foolishly stood in the same place, blankly looking at their dead brother on the ground. Their expressions were very interesting. The four experts of the bloody group had attacked together to deal with Yang Kai, but unexpectedly one of them was killed by him in a flash. And he was only hit by a sword, a kick, and a palm. Although he was seriously injured, he still managed to escape. Chapter 104. The three of them couldn't accept this fact no matter how hard they tried. The person lying on the ground was a separation and reunion boundary expert. This was a Motherf **** separation and reunion boundary expert. How could he be killed by an initial element boundary cultivator? There was a gap of 2 realms between the two of them. This was simply a huge joke. Although Brother Kai's cultivation was sealed by that woman and he had to use his Yuan Qi and mind to resist the invasion of the Yin Qi in the valley, he should still be able to display the strength of a Qi transformation boundary expert, right? How could he be killed? The three people's faces turned green and red, and they were still a little frightened. Each of them was thinking, what if Yang Kai's target wasn't this brother, but them? What would the result be? Without a doubt, they would also die here. At this moment, Yuan Lang finally understood Brother Kai's wisdom and vigilance. If it wasn't for Brother Kai's warning, he was afraid that he would be the first to die at Yang Kai's hands. "Brother, how did you die?" The weakest cultivator finally opened his mouth and asked, breaking the awkward silence. After this question was asked, the three people suddenly looked at each other in dismay. The scene of the fight just now replayed in their minds, and they finally found traces of Yang Kai's attack. It was that palm strike that traded injury for injury. This was Kai Yang's only offensive move in this battle. "He's that strong?" one of them asked in horror. "This isn't his ability. He must have hidden some powerful secret treasure, otherwise he wouldn't have been able to break through Brother's Yuan Qi defense and kill him in one blow." Yuan Lang looked at him and gradually calmed down as he analyzed. The other person also nodded in agreement. If he didn't rely on the power of the secret treasure, how could Yang Kai do this with his own strength? Even if Yang Kai stood up and admitted it, they wouldn't believe it. The amount of Yuan Qi needed to activate this secret treasure must be enormous, and his strength is only in the initial element realm, so he only has one chance to attack. After the attack, no matter whether it succeeds or not, he has to escape immediately. Yuan Lang's face was gloomy. The more he thought about it, the clearer his thoughts became. His thinking gradually became more agile, and he actually felt like he had the pearl of wisdom in his hands. His speculation was also quite consistent with Yang Kai's suspicious actions. Yuan Lang's tone was firm. "So, the current him, even if he still has some strength, he is just an arrow at the end of its flight. He definitely won't be able to use that artifact again. Adding on the fact that he has suffered such a serious injury, he is no longer a threat." The other two also felt that his analysis was very reasonable, and they couldn't help but feel relieved. It turned out that he was only relying on an artifact to achieve this level. How frightening! If his strength was so monstrous that even Brother Kai could easily kill him, then they should just wash their necks clean and stretch out their necks. Why should they linger on while at death's door? The blood group disciple with the lowest strength said, "Brother has been killed, should we go back and report it?" Yuan Lang turned his head to look at him and lightly reprimanded, "Why go back? If we don't report it, I'm afraid it's not appropriate." This person hesitated. The other person thoughtfully looked at the youth and suddenly laughed. He said to the lowest strength disciple, "Junior Brother Wu, you don't understand Brother Yuan's intention." Junior Brother Wu's face was full of confusion. He turned his head to look at this person, and then turned his head to look at Yuan Lang, puzzled. Yuan Lang chuckled, "Junior Brother Ye's mind is so meticulous, I can't hide anything from you." Junior Brother Yi also laughed heartily, "Great minds think alike, that's all." Junior Brother Wu looked at the two of them speaking in riddles, but he couldn't understand the key point. He couldn't help but helplessly say, "Two brothers, can't you explain things in simple terms?" Yuan Lang looked at him and then said, "Junior Brother Wu, what do you think about the level of the artifact that Yang Kai relied on?" Junior Brother Wu listened for a moment and then slowly replied, "Surrounded by the four of us, he was able to kill Brother Kai in one blow. The level of the artifact is certainly not low. At the very least, it is an Earth-grade mid-level artifact. It is very likely to be an Earth-grade high-level artifact." They had all seen Xia Ningchang use a Heaven-grade defensive artifact. At this moment, Yang Kai had an Earth-grade defensive artifact. What was the big deal? Earth-grade defensive artifact was Junior Brother Wu's lowest evaluation, so this speculation was reasonable. Yuan Lang nodded slightly. "If we report this matter to Hall Master Wen, what do you think the final result will be?" Junior Brother Wu almost instinctively said, "Yang Kai will die, and the artifact will be taken by Hall Master Wen." Halfway through his sentence, he suddenly understood everything. If Hall Master Wen knew that Yang Kai had an Earth-grade artifact, would they still have a share? That woman's Heaven-grade artifact had already been reserved by young Master Long Hui. Even if Hall Master Wen couldn't eat the meat, he still had to drink the soup, right? As for these brothers, they probably wouldn't even be able to lick the bottom of the soup. At most, when they returned, Hall Master Wen would reward them with some gold and silver. This time, after experiencing such danger, several of their brothers had died. Could it be that this was the only benefit they could get? Even if they worked hard for others, they still had to get something in return. Just now, they had been on the brink of death. Even now, their hearts were still beating wildly. How could this be made up for by some gold and silver? Moreover, Hall Master Wen had always been stingy. Even if he rewarded them, he wouldn't give them much. "Brothers, what do you mean?" Junior Brother Wu tentatively asked. Yuan Lang and Junior Brother Yi looked at each other. Junior Brother Yi nodded slightly. "Whatever Brother Yuan says, we will do." Yuan Lang laughed. "Good, since the two junior brothers don't have any objections, then we won't report it." "Good." The two nodded. As for the artifact in Yang Kai's hands, Yuan Lang smiled and turned to look at the two junior brothers. "Whoever can kill him and avenge Brother Kai can have that artifact. What do you think?" Junior Brother Yi nodded. "Then we will do as Brother Yuan says." "Are we going to split up?" Junior Brother Wu was the weakest. Just now, when he saw Brother Kai die on the spot, he naturally panicked. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to deal with Yang Kai one-on-one. Junior Brother Yi said, "What are you afraid of? Yang Kai has activated the artifact once. How could he have any Yuan Qi left? Moreover, he had a fierce battle with the Storm House's people and was wounded badly by us. Anyone who meets him can kill him easily." Junior Brother Wu agreed with him. Before they came here, Yang Kai had a fierce battle with Nu Lang. He must have consumed a lot of his Yuan Qi, and they had seen his wounds. In this harsh environment, he still had to use his Yuan Qi and mind to resist the Yin Qi invasion. He was afraid that his strength had been reduced by 70 to 80%. If they met him, they could kill him easily. Now, instead of saying that they wanted to kill Yang Kai to avenge Brother Kai, it was better to say that they wanted to find the Earth-grade artifact in his hands. Whoever found him first would get the artifact. How could they move together? Thinking about this, Junior Brother Wu's breath became hot. Chapter 105. After they finished their discussion and were about to take action, junior brother Yi suddenly looked at Yuan Lang and said, "Brother Yuan, when Yang Kai was escaping just now, something seemed to have fallen out. What is it?" Yuan Lang was stunned for a moment, then chuckled. Junior brother Yi is quite observant. As he spoke, he opened his palm and revealed the bottle. He said, "This should be a bottle of pills. Can I take a look?" Junior brother Yi smiled slightly. Yang Kai and that woman both had high-grade secret treasures on them, so their value was not low. When this bottle fell out, Yang Kai was obviously reluctant to part with it. A pill that could make him reluctant to part with it was definitely valuable. Because of this, junior brother Yi didn't want this thing to be monopolized by Yuan Lang. Everyone participated in the battle, so naturally, everyone who saw it should have a share. Sure. Yuan Lang also knew what junior brother Yi was thinking, so naturally he wouldn't monopolize this spoil of war. As he spoke, he opened the bottle and looked inside. He was immediately surprised. It seems to be a yang attribute pill. Yuan Lang's face showed some joy. Junior brother Yi and junior brother Wu also became excited. Really? You'll know when you see it, Yuan Lang said as he poured out some pills from the bottle and then flicked them to the two junior brothers. It really is a yang attribute pill. Junior brother Wu was very happy. As soon as the pills entered his hand, he felt the chill in his body disperse a lot. He didn't even need to use his Yuan Qi to resist the invasion of the Yin Qi. This pill was simply the nemesis of the Yin Qi in the valley. No wonder Yang Kai was reluctant to part with it. In this kind of harsh environment, the most important thing was this kind of yang attribute pill. If he lost this thing, it would only make things worse. Yuan Lang shook the bottle and said, "We've already divided the pills, but junior brothers, these pills may have hidden secrets. Don't eat them, just carry them with you to ward off the cold. Brother will take his leave first." After all, this was a pill left behind by Yang Kai. What if there was poison in it? Although they weren't as meticulous as Brother Kai, they weren't stupid enough to eat the enemy's food. After that, Yuan Lang used his movement technique and disappeared without a trace. Immediately after, the other two also put the pills into their pockets and each of them chased after the direction in which Yang Kai disappeared. Yang Kai was like a ferocious beast licking its wounds. He quietly hid in the crown of a tree and tried his best to restrain his aura. His eyes vigilantly scanned the surroundings. His condition was very bad. After the battle with the 5 disciples of Stormhouse, his body had suffered some injuries. Just now, under the siege of the 4 people from Blood Group, his injuries were much more serious. Especially when the sword pierced through his shoulder, it must have injured his muscles and bones. Because of this, Yang Kai's left hand was somewhat unable to exert any strength. In order to prevent those people from following the trail of blood, Kai Yang had already used his yang liquid to cauterize all of his wounds, sealing the flow of blood. Although the unyielding will allowed him to maintain his strength at the peak, in the end he was still an initial element boundary 4th stage cultivator. After the continuous battle, his physical strength and spirit consumption were enormous. If not for his unyielding will, he would have already collapsed. Recalling the dangerous battle a moment ago, Yang Kai couldn't help but secretly sneer. That Brother Kai was worthy of being a separation and reunion boundary expert. Although more than half of his cultivation was sealed, Yang Kai still used a full 10 drops of yang liquid to penetrate the Yuan Qi seal in his body and give him a fatal blow. But it was worth it. Although it was difficult to condense 10 drops of yang liquid, it was not a waste to exchange the life of a separation and reunion boundary expert. In this adversity, Yang Kai's mind was clearer than ever. He understood that if he failed, not only would he lose his life, even Xia Ningchang would be implicated. This was a matter of great importance. How could Yang Kai dare to relax? In addition to Long Hui and the strongest person in the blood group, there were still 3 people left. These 3 people's strength was not as good as Brother Kai's. If it was one-on-one, Yang Kai was not afraid. But if they joined forces, this matter would be very difficult. Know yourself and know your enemy, then you will be victorious in 100 battles. Yang Kai had to figure out the movement route of the 3 people from the blood group and the direction of their attack. Only then could he come up with a corresponding plan to kill them. Therefore, before he left, he purposely left behind a bottle of medicinal pills. It could be said that the main purpose of the battle just now was to hide the traces of the pill he had left behind. Secondly, it was to kill that senior brother Kai. Fortunately, both of these goals were successfully accomplished. What he left behind was a bottle of mysterious yang pills. A few days ago, he found more than 10 mysterious yang blood flowers, and Xia Ningchang helped him refine them. Because the Dantian yang liquid was abundant, and because they were in a hurry, Yang Kai did not take them. He did not think that they would come in handy now. Sometimes, it wasn't necessary to eat a medicinal pill in order for something to happen. Yang Kai wanted to tell them that even if they carried the Dan in their arms, there was still a problem. He believed that his plan would succeed. After all, this was the 9th Yin congregation ground, where the Yin Qi was very strong. Suddenly there was a bottle of Yang attribute Dan, so he did not need to think about what those people would do. As long as they carried the mysterious Yang pills, he could rely on the origin of Yang seal to detect their location. In this way, the initiative was in his hands. After concealing himself for a moment, the Yang origin seal on his chest reacted. Yang Kai's expression turned cold as he hurriedly held his breath and suppressed his heartbeat. Not long after, a person flashed from below. Yang Kai looked at him and frowned. Why was there only one person? After waiting for a moment, not far away, another person hurriedly passed by. After a short while, a third person suddenly came to the tree where Yang Kai was hiding. Yang Kai quietly looked down and found that this person was actually the weakest blood group disciple. This person looked around for a moment and quickly disappeared. Strange, how could these three people be separated? Yang Kai frowned and thought hard, but he could not understand. How could he have known that these three people only thought he was an arrow at the end of its flight and that he had a powerful Earth-grade artifact in his possession? They simply wanted to see who would be lucky enough to find him. It was no wonder that these three people thought this way. If it was an ordinary initial element cultivator, the amount of Yuan Qi stored in their body would not be much. If they really went through a few life and death battles, the Yuan Qi would naturally not be much left. But Yang Kai was different. The amount of Yuan Qi stored in his meridians was not much compared to other initial element cultivators. But he had a lot of Yang liquid in his Dantian. Before he left, Yang Kai stored more than 40 drops of Yang liquid in his Dantian. It did not matter if the Yuan Qi in his meridians was depleted. A drop of Yang liquid could completely replenish it, making him full of energy again. It could be said that as long as the Dantian had reserves, and his physical and mental strength could keep up, Yang Kai was a tireless fighting machine. If Brother Kai was still alive, with his cautiousness and caution, he would definitely not let his people act separately and give Yang Kai the opportunity to kill them one by one. But Yang Kai had just killed him, and now it was Yuan Lang's turn to make the decision. Naturally, he did not think too much about it. Yang Kai did not understand the deep meaning of this, but now things were going more smoothly than he expected. How could he not grasp the opportunity in front of him? Chapter 106. After confirming that the other two were not nearby, Yang Kai jumped down from the treetop and followed Junior Brother Wu, who had the lowest strength. Junior Brother Wu was at the 9th level of the Qi transformation realm and could be considered a good expert. But now that his strength was sealed, he could only display less than 40% of his strength. At this moment, he was vigilantly searching for traces of Yang Kai in the jungle. Unfortunately, although he had followed his blood all the way here, it had already disappeared a few minutes ago. This mountain valley was densely covered with trees, so it was difficult to find a person. Junior Brother Wu did not let go of any suspicious place. From time to time he would look up at the treetops, but the light here was too dim, so it increased the difficulty of searching. He could not let his two brothers beat him to it. If Yang Kai was found by them first, then he would not have a share of the Earth-grade secret treasure. Earth-grade secret treasure. Junior apprentice Brother Wu's heart began to burn with excitement. If he could possess such an artifact, then his status in the gang would definitely rise. By relying on this artifact, defeating a separation and reunion boundary martial artist would not be a difficult matter. While he was searching, he suddenly heard a rustling sound behind him. Junior brother Wu turned around in horror and shouted, "Who is it?" At the same time, he looked around and clenched the long sword in his hand. He was secretly vigilant, but he did not find anything. From time to time, he heard a rustling sound, but it was actually the sound of a cold wind blowing the surrounding trees. He was being paranoid. Junior brother Wu secretly laughed at himself. In this mountain valley, apart from the people of the blood group, there was only Yang Kai and that woman. These two people were currently powerless to protect themselves, so why would they run to their deaths? Chuckling, Junior brother Wu turned around and prepared to continue forward. Who would have thought that just as he relaxed his mind, he would suddenly feel a burning sensation from the top of his head. At the same time, his whole body tightened as an aura of death rushed towards him. Looking up in surprise, Junior brother Wu's eyes suddenly widened as he exclaimed, "Yang Kai." As soon as he finished speaking, Yang Kai had already landed on top of him. His head was down and his feet were like a goshawk hunting for its prey. With the momentum of a pouncing attack, one of his palms ignited with a layer of bright red light as he slapped down towards the top of his head. This unforeseen event happened too quickly. Junior brother Wu only had time to draw out a sword flower before Yang Kai's attack arrived. In his panic, Junior brother Wu tilted his head to the side, avoiding the vital part of his head. With a boom, Yang Kai's palm landed on Junior brother Wu's shoulder. With a crisp crack, Junior brother Wu's entire arm sank down and broke. Ah! The burning yuan qi entered Junior brother Wu's body, causing him to scream out in pain. He shook his long sword again and slashed towards Yang Kai's neck. Yang Kai flipped backwards in the air, the soles of his feet brushing against the sword, narrowly avoiding this attack. After landing on the ground, he bounced off the ground like an agile snake and quickly approached Junior brother Wu's arms. His two hands were like butterflies as they wrapped around his right hand that was holding the sword. Then, with a push and a pull, he broke his balance and directly flipped him to the ground. This series of movements was incomparably fast, dazzling to the eyes, but the connection was natural and smooth. Falling to the ground, Junior brother Wu spat out a mouthful of blood. Yang Kai's knee pressed against his shoulder and his two hands suddenly exerted force. Junior brother Wu's right arm was also broken. With a miserable howl, Junior brother Wu's hands were broken and his whole body was trampled under Yang Kai's feet. Looking at him coldly, Kai Yang didn't have the slightest trace of emotion on his face. With a kick of his foot, he picked up Junior brother Wu's sword which had fallen to the ground. Then, aiming at Junior brother Wu's chest, he pierced down. "How could you?" Junior brother Wu looked at Yang Kai in disbelief with blood foam in his mouth. "How could you still have the strength to fight? You're just an initial element cultivator, you should be exhausted. Brother Yuan, F*CKU, Junior brother Wu is dead because of you." This was the last thought in Junior brother Wu's mind, and his eyes gradually lost their luster. After killing Junior brother Wu, Yang Kai was slightly out of breath. The wounds on his body showed signs of splitting open, and blood once again gushed out. Not daring to delay, Yang Kai bent down and carefully searched Junior brother Wu's body. Not long after, he found his mysterious Yang pills. Not only that, this Junior brother Wu also had some other valuables on him. Yang Kai pocketed half a bottle of qi recovery pills and some banknotes. Carrying Junior brother Wu's body, Yang Kai jumped onto a tree and hid the body in the canopy. Then he jumped down and ran in another direction. Time was of the essence. There were less than 4 hours before dawn, and he still had to kill at least 4 enemies. One of them was even an expert of the Yuan Qi realm. He still had a long way to go. With the improvement of his strength, the sensing range of the origin of Yang on his chest had also increased a lot. It was estimated that within 200 feet, Yang Kai could sense Yang Qi's reaction. 200 feet was already very far. Normally, those experts of the separation and reunion realm would have a keen perception. Naturally, no movement within 200 feet could escape their eyes and ears. But now Yang Kai was the master of this 200 feet. After running for less than the time it took to burn a stick of incense, Yang Kai suddenly stopped. He felt the presence of another person. However, this person actually stayed in the same place and didn't move. He didn't know what he was doing. Yang Kai waited for a moment and found that he still didn't move. Moreover, Yang Kai also felt that the place where the person stopped was a bit strange. It was as if the yin qi in the valley was converging towards that place. Frowning, Yang Kai quietly crept up. After a short while, Yang Kai finally approached within 300 feet of the other person. Hiding behind a large tree, he quietly looked over. 300 feet away, a vague figure stopped there, and not far in front of him, there was a bright white thing blooming with light. This thing was like a small sun, illuminating everything in its vicinity. It wasn't large, only about the size of a pigeon's egg, but from inside it, there was a burst of bone-chilling coldness, a coldness that could even freeze one's soul. At this moment, this thing was spinning endlessly. As it spun, the yin qi in the valley seemed to be attracted by some kind of force and was rapidly rushing towards it. The ninth yin yuan condensing dew. Yang Kai almost instantly understood what this thing was. Although he had never seen it before, Yang Kai still recognized it at a glance. Xia Ningchang had brought him to the ninth yin congregation ground with the purpose of refining it. So this is what the ninth yin yuan condensing dew looks like. Yang Kai originally thought that it was a drop of dew. But now it seemed that this thing was quite intelligent and was indeed absorbing the yin qi of heaven and earth. Just as Yang Kai was secretly observing, the figure 300 feet away finally moved. This person was Junior Brother Yi. He tracked Yang Kai to no avail, but he didn't expect to find the ninth yin yuan condensing dew here. With his knowledge, he naturally didn't know the wonders of this thing, but he knew that this thing was a treasure. After quietly observing for a long time, he finally couldn't help but want to make a move. Chapter 107. As soon as he moved, Yang Kai naturally moved as well. At this moment, Junior Brother Ye's attention was completely attracted by the ninth yin yuan condensing dew, so it was a good time to launch a sneak attack. He never dreamed that Yang Kai could determine his position and was bold enough to launch a sneak attack on him. A greedy look appeared on Junior Brother Ye's face. His body was as nimble as a cat, and his movements were silent. He approached the ninth yin yuan condensing dew little by little. The distance was getting closer and closer. 20 feet, 10 feet, 9 feet. The ninth yin yuan condensing dew was still in the same place, constantly absorbing the heaven and earth yin qi in the valley, stirring up the surrounding yin qi. When the distance between Junior Brother Yi and the ninth yin yuan condensing dew was only 5 feet, his yuan qi suddenly became violent. His hidden body rushed out like a cheetah pouncing on its prey. His eyes were full of fire, and he stretched out his hand to grab the ninth yin yuan condensing dew. Yang Kai also moved. His eyes were locked on Junior Brother Ye's body. His feet were like the wind, and he was holding the long sword that he had just robbed. Taking advantage of the opponent's unguarded state, he was ready to kill him from the side. Just when Junior Brother Yi thought that he was about to succeed, the ninth yin yuan condensing dew suddenly stopped absorbing yin qi. An extremely strong yin qi burst out from inside and rushed toward Junior Brother Yi. This change was so fast that Junior Brother Yi couldn't stop his footsteps. Junior Brother Yi was shocked. He had just observed it for a long time. Although he was sure that this was a heaven and earth treasure, he didn't know that this thing had spirituality and could counterattack in the face of a crisis. Junior Brother Yi was scared out of his wits for a moment. Feeling the oncoming cold air, he panicked. His yuan qi was activated, trying to resist the oncoming crisis. Just when he was ready to withstand the impact, the ninth yin yuan condensing dew suddenly shook and disappeared in the blink of an eye. The moment it disappeared, the surrounding light suddenly fell into darkness. As the light changed, Junior Brother Ye's vision was greatly affected. He couldn't see what was happening around him at all. It was at this moment that Yang Kai made his move. Although Yang Kai's vision was also affected, he could still roughly determine the enemy's position. Even if this stab didn't take his life, it definitely wouldn't let him have an easy time. Junior Brother Ye's mind was completely focused on the cold air that was rushing towards him. How could he feel the killing intent coming from the side? The next moment, Junior Brother Ye's body swayed as the cold air hit him head-on. He felt as if he had fallen into an ice cellar, and his yuan qi was not running smoothly. He couldn't help but shiver. Before he could catch his breath, he suddenly felt a sharp pain in his waist, as if he had been pierced by a sharp weapon. Junior brother Yi had a lot of experience in dealing with enemies. After all, he was a master of separation and reunion. Although his vision was blocked, he instinctively flew up and swept his leg in the direction of Yang Kai. With a muffled groan, Yang Kai was swept in the shoulder and flew out. The two people's heavy breathing sounded at the same time. At this moment, Yang Kai didn't need to hide his figure anymore. Gradually recovering his vision, junior brother Yi looked in the direction of Yang Kai with resentment. His body couldn't help but shiver. His hand covered his waist and ribs, and his figure staggered. At his waist, a long sword came out of his body. Yang Kai had used almost all of his strength just now. Junior brother Yi also had to use his yuan qi to resist the cold air. How could he guard against it? "It's you!" After seeing Yang Kai's face clearly, junior brother Ye's expression suddenly became interesting. He had just thought of several possibilities. One possibility was that Yuan Lang or junior brother Wu had sneak attacked him. In the face of benefits, it wasn't strange for fellow disciples to kill each other. Another possibility was that the woman wanted to kill him. Another possibility was that there was another group of people in this valley. But he never thought that the one who attacked him was actually Yang Kai, who they thought was a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. Ha! Yang Kai slowly got up and looked at him with a grim smile. He shook the shoulder that was hit and found that it wasn't serious. Then he walked over step by step without fear. Junior brother Yi was now an arrow at the end of its flight. How is this possible? Junior brother Ye's face gradually turned pale. Although I don't know what you're surprised about, it seems that all of this is very different from what you expected. Yang Kai said coldly. "We." Junior brother Yi looked down and said with a surprised expression, "This is junior brother Wu's sword." "Yes, he's already dead. Now it's your turn. So, we were all fooled by you." At this moment, junior brother Ye's heart was filled with a strong sense of unwillingness and humiliation. When brother Kai died at the hands of Yang Kai, it could be explained as the power of the secret treasure. But now, he was going to die at the hands of Yang Kai. He was at the separation and reunion level. Now he was going to be killed by a cultivator at the initial element level. What kind of world was this? Sullen, very sullen. With a cry, junior brother Yi opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. His expression became more and more dispirited. The injuries on his body and the humiliation on his mind made him feel haggard and powerless, but he couldn't resist. "I have no enmity with you, but since you came to me, don't blame me for being ruthless." Yang Kai's expression was cold. He walked in front of junior brother Yi and raised his palm to attack him. Junior brother Ye's eyes suddenly brightened as if he had a final burst of strength. He pulled out the long sword at his waist, held it in his hand, and slashed at Yang Kai. Yang Kai lowered his body and hit junior brother Ye's chin with an uppercut. Junior brother Ye's entire chin was immediately shattered. His body flew high into the air, and then fell heavily to the ground. Without waiting for him to resist, Yang Kai rushed up and punched him twice. The yuan qi burst out, and junior brother Yi was immediately killed. Standing up, Yang Kai sneered, "Playing tricks? I'm your grandfather." Obviously, junior brother Yi just pretended to be weak. He wanted to let Yang Kai get close to him so that he could kill him in one blow. But Yang Kai was already prepared. Even a rabbit would bite when cornered, not to mention he was a cultivator. Before the enemy was killed, any carelessness could cost him his life. After killing this person, Yang Kai searched his body as usual. He didn't find much, just 1 or 2 bottles of elixirs and some banknotes. After all, these people went out, so they couldn't bring too many things with them. He could use the elixirs himself, but there were several banknotes. Yang Kai didn't look at them carefully and directly stuffed them into his trouser pocket. Like before, he threw the person's body into a nearby tree. Yang Kai looked around and found that the 9 yin yuan condensing dew had long disappeared. Yang Kai also felt the cold yin energy that burst out of the 9 yin yuan condensing dew. It was an extremely overbearing yin energy. No wonder he was needed to help collect it. This thing was very intelligent and would escape when it felt something was wrong. Except for the yang attribute Yuan Qi, which was its nemesis, there was probably no good way to collect it. There were still more than 2 hours before dawn. He had to hurry, but before that, Yang Kai had to go back and ask Xia Ningchang how to collect the 9 yin yuan condensing dew. Chapter 108. The 9th yin yuan condensing dew was a drifting thing, and the mountain valley was not small. If he was lucky enough to find it, he would be able to collect it. However, before coming here, Yang Kai had asked several times. Whether it was Xia Ningchang or Old Man Meng, they did not answer. They only said that they would tell him when the time came. This made Yang Kai somewhat suspicious and puzzled. Now it was time to find out more. The location of Xia Ningchang's hiding place, Kai Yang still remembered it clearly. He cautiously ran towards that direction while paying attention to the reaction of the origin of Yang on his chest. He wanted to see if he could find Yuan Lang. However, along the way, the origin of Yang did not react at all. He did not know where Yuan Lang had run off to, but he was helpless. After all, his sensing range was only 2,000 feet. If Yuan Lang went beyond this range, Yang Kai would not be able to find him. After rushing for a stick of incense, just as he was about to reach Xia Ningchang's hiding place, the origin of Yang on his chest reacted at this moment. Yang Kai was pleasantly surprised. He was surprised because Yuan Lang's current location was very close to Xia Ningchang. He was happy because he had finally found this blood group disciple. Had he found Xia Ningchang? Thinking of this, Yang Kai hurriedly approached that direction. At the same time, he held his breath and paid attention to that direction. After a moment, Yang Kai sighed in relief. There was no movement from that direction. Yuan Lang should not have found Xia Ningchang's hiding place. Otherwise, they would definitely have started fighting. Yang Kai was not worried about Xia Ningchang's safety. After all, she could still use her heaven-grade defensive artifact. However, her hiding place was very awkward. It was a crack in the mountain that only allowed one person to enter at a time. If Yuan Lang blocked her inside and let out a whistle to inform Long Hui and that expert, things would become very troublesome. Thinking of this, Yang Kai became even more cautious. Xia Ningchang was also very nervous at this moment. Since Yang Kai left, she had been recovering here. After taking a palm strike from Wen Fei Qin, activating a heaven-grade artifact, and opening the 9 yin 8 locks array, her consumption was greater than anyone else's. After recovering for such a long time and using all the pills he had with him, he had only recovered 20% of his strength. At best, he was only equivalent to the 7th or 8th level of the initial element realm. Just a moment ago, there was a sudden commotion outside. Xia Ningchang was so shocked that her heart jumped. She hid in the crevice of the mountain and didn't dare to move. Her pair of bright eyes quietly narrowed as she looked outside, wanting to see who was approaching. She was expecting Yang Kai, but if it was really Yang Kai, there was no reason for him not to come in immediately. That person had been loitering outside for a long time, but had not been able to enter. Naturally, it was not the person she was waiting for. It was the enemy. She just didn't know how strong this person was. The other party had been searching nearby for a full 30 minutes, very carefully, but found nothing. Seeing that the footsteps were about to leave in a hurry, Xia Ningchang couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. However, at this moment, there was a rustling sound from the bushes at the entrance of the mountain crevice. Xia Ningchang's heart, which had just calmed down, suddenly jumped up again. Immediately after, a small black shadow suddenly rushed out of the bushes and jumped directly in front of Xia Ningchang. She was so scared that she almost cried out in alarm, but when she looked closely, she couldn't help but not know whether to laugh or cry. This was actually a squirrel that lived in the valley. It was probably frozen by the yin qi, so it had found this mountain crevice to take shelter from the wind. Xia Ningchang cautiously reached out, wanting to grab it. Unexpectedly, the squirrel was very vigilant. When it sensed that there was someone here, it immediately jumped out. In midair, a large hand suddenly appeared and firmly grabbed the squirrel. Then, with a strong squeeze, blood splattered. Hee hee. A burst of sinister laughter rang out as Yuan Lang's sturdy figure blocked the only entrance to the mountain. His face revealed a pleasantly surprised expression as he looked at Xia Ningchang, who was sitting inside, and said, "So you were hiding here?" Xia Ningchang's face suddenly became cold. Her beautiful eyes angrily looked at Yuan Lang. Women generally loved small animals very much, especially small animals that looked cute. Although the squirrel just now exposed her whereabouts, Yuan Lang's cruel methods still angered her. "You made me look for you for a long time." Yuan Lang blocked the mountain crevice and calmly looked at Xia Ningchang. "What is lost at the swings, what is gained at the swings? I couldn't find Yang Kai, but I found you. It's a great achievement." With this sentence, Xia Ningchang immediately calmed down. It turned out that junior brother was safe and sound. "If you dare come over, I'll let you die without a burial place," Xia Ningchang coldly threatened. However, her natural disposition was pure and innocent. Even when she lied, her face would turn red. If these words had come from someone else's mouth, it would have been somewhat threatening. However, Yuan Lang could hear the lack of confidence in her words. He couldn't help but laugh and say, "Do you still have the strength to fight? You're lucky that you didn't faint after taking that palm strike from Hall Masterwen. Right now, you're just hanging on by a thread." Although Yuan Lang's strength was sealed, Xia Ningchang wasn't much better off. If they really fought, Yuan Lang wasn't afraid of her at all. After all, both of them were at the separation and reunion boundary. It was just that one of them was higher than the other. Now that the only exit was blocked by her, Yuan Lang had the upper hand and victory was in his hands. "Be obedient and I promise I won't let you suffer. If you dare to resist, don't blame me for being ruthless," Yuan Lang fiercely threatened. Xia Ningchang didn't answer. She secretly gathered her Yuan Qi and prepared to give him a fierce blow when he got close. However, Yuan Lang obviously knew what she was planning to do. He didn't get close and just blocked the way. This made Xia Ningchang secretly complain. "I know you have a heaven-grade defensive artifact. In my current state, I'm afraid I can't do anything to you. But what if I send a message to ask others to come over? Do you still have any hope of escaping?" Yuan Lang wasn't in a hurry. He had the mentality of a cat toying with a mouse, using words to destroy Xia Ningchang's psychological defenses. "What do you want to do?" Xia Ningchang coldly asked. "What do I want to do? Hee hee, I should be the one asking you that. If you want to live, you have to obediently agree to a few of my conditions. If you don't, I'll call people over right now." Realizing that the time had come, Yuan Lang finally revealed his foxtail. What conditions? Xia Ningchang was also happy to waste time with this person. Right now, the more time she had, the more her Yuan Qi would recover. First, you have to seal your Yuan Qi and obediently wait to be captured. Second, you have to give me that defensive artifact. Yuan Lang revealed a trace of a perverted smile. "Take off your mask and let me see your true appearance. Don't worry, I won't do anything to you. If you really are a beauty, I'll let you go and definitely won't make things difficult for you." Even a child wouldn't believe this. If Xia Ningchang really sealed her Yuan Qi, then wouldn't Yuan Lang be able to do whatever he wanted? In this dark and windy night, where a man and a woman were alone, how could a man resist the temptation of beauty? Xia Ningchang was simple, but she wasn't someone who could be easily deceived. She immediately scolded, "Wishful thinking." Chapter 109. You're forcing my hand. Yuan Lang's face turned cold. "You're going too far." Xia Ningchang did not back down. Yuan Lang's expression was cold and stern. He wanted to send a message, but after thinking about it, he restrained himself and chuckled. "Then let's see if this girl's defensive artifact can block my attack." He really couldn't bear to give up such a delicious meal that was already in his mouth. If he could really subdue Xia Ningchang with his own strength, it would be equivalent to obtaining at least a heaven-grade artifact. With such a treasure, where could he not go in this big world? There was no need to stay in the blood group and risk his life, right? What's more, this girl's origin was mysterious and her value was not low. He estimated that she had more than one artifact. So he wanted to try. If it really didn't work, then it wouldn't be too late to send a message. In any case, with him here, she couldn't escape even if she had wings. Thinking of this, Yuan Lang smirked and walked towards Xia Ningchang. Xia Ningchang complained in her heart. Although she had recovered 20% of her Yuan Qi and could activate her defensive artifact, it consumed too much Yuan Qi. Once she used it, she would fall into a state of weakness again. She was still counting on using this little bit of Yuan Qi to find Yang Kai. How could she bear to use it all up? But if she didn't use it, she didn't have the confidence to defeat Yuan Lang. The terrain here was really bad. She couldn't display her strength. She could only block for a while and see if she could find an opportunity to kill him. Xia Ningchang also didn't intend to be lenient. The other party had already bullied her. How could she compromise? The distance between the two was getting closer and closer. Xia Ningchang also slowly stood up, secretly raising her Yuan Qi and vigilantly staring at Yuan Lang, who was coming over. This was a true encounter on a narrow path. In this narrow mountain gap, no matter who it was, there was no way to easily avoid each other's attacks. When they were still 10 meters away, Yuan Lang's smile gradually disappeared. His expression turned serious. Xia Ningchang suddenly made her move. Without any warning, she made the first move, much to Yuan Lang's surprise. Her slender jade-like hands formed an orchid shape, and she flicked her finger forward. An ice-cold wind shot towards Yuan Lang like an arrow. Yuan Lang's expression changed. He didn't expect this woman to still have the strength to fight with him. After all, how long had it been since she was injured? Even if he took a pill, it was impossible for him to recover so quickly, right? How could he know that Xia Ningchang had a special physique? As soon as the pills entered her body, she could directly absorb and refine them. If it wasn't for the fact that she didn't have enough pills with her, how could she only recover 20% of her strength? This finger wind was cold to the bone, like a sharp icicle. It was the result of Xia Ningchang using the yin qi in the valley and her own special characteristics to instantly refine it. The killing power wasn't too strong, but the advantage was that it didn't consume much energy and it was fast enough. With a whizzing sound, Yuan Lang used his palm to move his saber. Yuan Qi burst forth, and he slashed forward with his palm, shouting, "Flying Cloud Chop." Flying Cloud Chop wasn't a palm technique, but a saber technique. It was an earth-level low-grade martial art, and its power wasn't weak. However, Yuan Lang didn't have a saber, so he could only use his palm as a substitute. Naturally, the power of the attack was reduced. But even so, Xia Ningchang's attack was cut in half by him, and it didn't have any effect. Feeling that this attack didn't have any killing power, Yuan Lang wanted to laugh at it, but he didn't expect that he would be met with another wave of so-so sounds. It was Xia Ningchang who had sent out another attack. Yuan Lang was annoyed. He formed a fist with one hand and punched out, shouting, "Azure Dragon's Roar." Sure enough, there was a faint sound of a dragon's roar. This move was even more powerful than the previous Flying Cloud Chop. Without giving him time to breathe, the whizzing sound came again. Xia Ningchang actually started to move left and right. Her two small hands moved endlessly, and one wind after another fiercely shot out. Yuan Lang didn't retreat an inch and hurriedly used his martial arts to neutralize it. Thousand Execution Flash, Flying Phoenix Ghost Kill, Heavenly Mandate Thunder, Transforming Iron Palm, Steel Beheading Hand, Spirit Dragon Fist. As expected of a separation and reunion boundary expert, the variety of martial arts he practiced was very varied. He changed his methods to compete with Xia Ningchang's attacks, and for a moment, they were in deep water. On the other hand, Xia Ningchang was the type to deal with all kinds of changes. No matter what kind of martial skill he used, all she had was a cold finger wind. The two of them were separated by 10 meters, but they were evenly matched. Sparks flew from the cliff walls of the mountain crack, all of which were swept out by the aftershocks of the two people's martial arts. After fighting for a long time, Yuan Lang finally realized that something was wrong. His strength was sealed, and he had to work hard to resist the invasion of the cold qi. After continuously using so many martial arts that consumed Yuan Qi, he actually felt a little weak. On the other hand, the woman opposite him was still the same as before. Her face didn't turn red, and her heart didn't beat fast. It was as if the wind she sent out didn't cost money and didn't consume Yuan Qi at all. How could he know that Xia Ningchang's wind was mostly the cold wind gathered from the cold qi in the valley? She only needed to use a little bit of her Yuan Qi to create a strong killing force. After fighting for a while, Yuan Lang finally understood that in his current state, he couldn't eat Xia Ningchang at all. He immediately flew into a rage out of humiliation and said fiercely, "Stinking woman, if you still don't surrender, I'll call young Master Longhui over. If he comes over, he'll definitely ruthlessly ravage you and make you wish you were dead." Despicable. Xia Ningchang was angry. Hee, any woman who falls into Long Hui's hands doesn't have a good life. You might as well obediently submit to me. I promise I'll treat you well. Shameless. Xia Ningchang continued to be angry. I'll count to 3. If you don't surrender, then don't blame me for not giving you a chance. Yuan Lang's expression turned cold as he made his final ultimatum. Then he slowly shouted, 1. While the two were talking, their hands didn't rest at all. They were still fighting fiercely. 2. Yuan Lang deliberately dragged out the word. Xia Ningchang's eyes suddenly curved into crescents. Although her face was covered by a veil, Yuan Lang was sure that this woman was smiling just now. She looks so good when she smiles. Yuan Lang thought to himself. For a moment, he couldn't bear to say 3 out loud. Have you thought it through? Yuan Lang thought that she had changed her mind. Xia Ningchang's eyes were still curved like crescents. She shouted, "Do you think you're the only one who knows how to call people?" What? Yuan Lang didn't understand. I know how to call people too. Xia Ningchang looked behind him and stamped her feet with a sobbing tone. Junior brother, you're finally here. Yuan Lang didn't even turn his head. He sneered, "You want to use this kind of trick to trick me? Miss, do you think I'm an idiot? You really are an idiot." Suddenly, a cold voice came from behind. Yuan Lang's expression changed greatly. He hurriedly tried to turn around, but Xia Ningchang didn't give him the chance. She attacked him fiercely, causing him to be flustered. In addition, the mountain was narrow, so he couldn't turn around. Half of his body was stuck, unable to advance or retreat. It was very awkward. With a puff, Yuan Lang felt a pain in his back. He vaguely felt a sharp weapon pierce through his body. He looked down and saw the tip of a sword piercing through his heart. Chapter 110. The sword pierced through his chest. This was a fatal wound. Yuan Lang could feel his heart suddenly contracting. All the blood in his body burst out, and his life was quickly fading away. He turned his head with difficulty and finally saw Yang Kai behind him. Bastard! Yuan Lang's face showed a strange expression. He looked at Yang Kai with unwillingness and anger. Yang Kai was silent. He pulled the sword out of Yuan Lang's chest, bringing out a burst of warm blood, and then suddenly stabbed it in again. After taking 2 blows, Yuan Lang finally couldn't take it anymore. His body softened and he fell down. His consciousness gradually blurred. Before he died, Yuan Lang's mouth slowly showed a trace of a bitter smile. His luck was really bad. God made fools of people. He originally thought that he had the upper hand by blocking this woman in the mountain crack, but he didn't expect that he would be blocked by someone else. If it weren't for this special terrain, how could he be killed without being able to fight back? Even if he couldn't beat them in a 1 versus 2 situation, he should have had a chance to escape, right? But now, everything was in vain. The hunter, who knew that there would be a day when he would become the prey, "Are you okay?" Yang Kai looked up at Xia Ningchang. In fact, when Yuan Lang discovered this little senior sister, Yang Kai was already nearby. However, he didn't immediately make a move. Instead, he waited until Yuan Lang entered the mountain crack and fought with Xia Ningchang before he made a sneak attack. This method was a bit despicable. After all, Xia Ningchang didn't know the situation and was frightened for a while. However, it was the most time-saving and effortless way to kill the enemy. "I'm fine." Xia Ningchang was stunned before she finished speaking. She saw the half-foot-long wound on Yang Kai's abdomen and the bloody hole on his shoulder. At this moment, the blood-soaked Kai Yang's face was calm and filled with concern. His expression was firm and resolute, giving off a kind of steadiness and reliability that only men could possess. He was completely different from his usual weak and fragile self. His upper body blocked the entrance of the mountain. His thin body was as immovable as a mountain, blocking all the wind, rain, and tribulation, making this narrow mountain crack as warm as a tranquil harbor. Slowly walking forward, Xianxia stretched out her trembling hand towards the wound. However, she didn't dare to touch it for fear of hurting Yang Kai. Her eyes instantly turned red. It had only been 4 hours. What kind of arduous battle had he gone through outside for him to become like this? How much blood did he have to bleed to make his blood chi soar to the sky? In this mountain valley that was practically cut off from the rest of the world, facing more than 10 enemies who were eyeing them covetously, Xianxia felt as if she and Yang Kai were mutually dependent. Now that she saw his miserable state, how could she not feel distressed? Every girl had the dream of a hero saving the damsel in distress. Although the person who saved her this time wasn't a great hero, nor was he a great hero, but was just an ordinary junior brother in the initial element realm. Compared to her own strength, he was worlds apart. But the girl's heart couldn't help but ripple. "It's just a small wound," Yang Kai said indifferently. "Oh right, I found the 9th yin yuan condensing dew." Xianxia rubbed her eyes. She wasn't as happy as she expected. "How do we collect that thing? You should tell me now, right?" Yang Kai asked. "Otherwise, if we find it later, it might run away again." "We don't want that." Xianxia pulled on Yang Kai's hand and gestured for him to sit down. "Why not?" Yang Kai frowned. "Didn't they come all the way here just for the 9th yin yuan condensing dew?" Xianxia ignored him and said softly, "Sit down first and we'll talk." Yang Kai looked at her suspiciously and then slowly sat down. Xianxia lowered her head, bit her lips, and half knelt in front of Yang Kai. She tore a long piece of cloth from her dress and then took out a bottle and poured some ointment on the cloth. She reached over to Yang Kai's body and wrapped the wound on his abdomen. Yang Kai let her do whatever she wanted. "We'll wait here until dawn," Xianxia said softly as she wrapped Yang Kai's wound. "After dawn, the 9 in 8 locks formation will break and we'll leave this place." "But we came here, don't?" Xianxia interrupted Yang Kai with an unquestionable firmness. "For that thing, it's not worth it." Yang Kai looked at her thoughtfully and frowned. "I know what you're worried about, but I've already killed 9 of them. They only have 2 people left." "What?" Xianxia looked up, her beautiful eyes full of disbelief. "They still have 2 people, we also have 2 people. Why should we be afraid of them?" Yang Kai's eyes flashed with madness. "Since they're not kind, we don't need to be polite to them. Also, the 9th yin yuan condensing dew, we can't let go of this thing. We can't give up halfway." "You're lying to me, right?" Xianxia looked at Yang Kai innocently. "Are you so gullible?" Yang Kai chuckled. He accidentally pulled on his wound and sucked in a cold breath. "Are they really only left with 2 people?" "Yes, there's only Long Hui and the person who injured you left." Yang Kai nodded. Xianxia was stunned. She had thought that Yang Kai had returned in such a distressed state because he was being chased by so many people outside. Being able to escape with his life was already a stroke of luck, but she had never expected that he would actually tell her that in just 2 hours, he had killed 9 enemies. There were several separation and reunion boundary cultivators among those people. How did he do it? If they only have 2 people left, then we really don't need to be afraid of them. Xianxia frowned. "The only thing I'm worried about now is that after dawn, that Yuan Qi boundary cultivator will recover his strength. If he continues to chase after us, I'm afraid we won't be able to run far." Yang Kai raised his eyebrows. "After the formation is broken, his strength can also recover?" "Then we don't have a choice." Yang Kai's expression turned cold. If they didn't kill that Yuan Qi boundary cultivator before dawn, then the 2 of them would definitely be captured alive. "But I've only recovered 20% of my strength. If we really meet that Yuan Qi boundary cultivator, I'm afraid it'll be a bit troublesome." Xianxia sighed. "I've collected a lot of pills here." See if there's anything you can use. Yang Kai took out the loot from the dead person and then ran to Yuan Lang's body to search. He immediately took out several bottles of pills. Yuan Lang seemed to be much wealthier than the others. He carried more pills and banknotes with him than the others. With these qi recovery pills, I should be able to recover 40% of my strength. That should be enough. Xia Ningchang's face showed a bit of excitement. You recover first. I'll keep an eye on you. Yang Kai also wanted to take advantage of this time to recover. Although the yuan qi in his body was endless, his physical strength and spirit still needed to be nurtured. Chapter 111. There was less than an hour left before dawn. Yang Kai and Xia Ningchang walked out of the hidden crevice and followed the direction of the flow of yin qi in the valley. Now the direction of the flow of yin qi in the valley was very easy to identify because the 9th yin yuan condensing dew was absorbing the ling qi in the valley at a very fast speed, causing the entire valley's yin qi to fiercely converge towards a certain place. This kind of strange phenomenon could be detected by anyone who was in the valley. Yang Kai estimated that the two people from the Bloody Battle Gang would certainly go to investigate, and when the time came, they would naturally meet. After killing several qi transforming stage and separation and reunion stage experts, Yang Kai's fighting spirit still had not subsided because there was still a yuan qi stage expert in the valley. As long as there was pressure, Yang Kai's unyielding will would always play its role, and his mind and body would always be tense. He just didn't know how much strength this yuan qi stage expert had left. After the time it took to burn a stick of incense, the two gradually approached the source of the yin qi. There was a bright light suspended in the air, and when the yin qi entered it, it disappeared as if it was swallowed. This was the 9th yin yuan condensing dew that Yang Kai had seen before. However, compared to before, it was very different now. The 9 yin dew crystals from before were just a ball of light, without any special shape. Now, it was like a flower bud that was about to bloom, and the tender petals were clearly visible. The two people hid their figures, and were about 50 feet away from the 9th yin yuan condensing dew. Xia Ningchang whispered, the 9th yin yuan condensing dew is inside the flower bud, and when the flower bud blooms, it will appear. At that time, it can be collected. Originally, I arranged the 9 yin 8 locks formation to deal with it, but those people forced me to activate it ahead of time. As long as those people don't die, the 8 yin qi chains will not return. This time, we can only rely on Junior Brother's means. Your true Yang Yuan Qi is its nemesis. If I don't have the formation, I can't help you. Doesn't it know how to escape? Yang Kai frowned. Yes, so, there's not much hope. Xia Ningchang was about to retreat. Then if we kill all those people, you can use the formation again, right? Yang Kai narrowed his eyes. Although you say that, what if they don't come here? They're already here. Yang Kai's eyes flashed a cold light as he suddenly turned his head to the side. When Fei Chen's hearty laughter rang out, "Ha, a smart brat." Yang Kai's expression was calm as he stood shoulder to shoulder with Xia Ningchang. When Fei Chen calmly arrived 20 meters away from the two and said with a smile, "You are actually still alive. It seems that those pieces of trash won't be able to accomplish anything great." When Fei Chen had been trying his best to dissolve the yin qi chains that had invaded his body, but no matter what he did, he was unable to do so. None of his subordinates had returned to report the situation. He and Long Hui had been waiting anxiously when they suddenly felt a change in the yin qi in the mountain valley, so they followed the traces and came here. As soon as they arrived, they saw Yang Kai and Xia Ningchang. When Fei Chen and Long Hui were both overjoyed at the unexpected good news, they didn't bother to hide their figures and walked over openly. Since things had escalated to this point, when Fei Chen naturally would not be kind to Yang Kai. He immediately let out a long whistle, wanting to call back his subordinates. But after he shouted, he discovered that the youth opposite him was looking at him with ridicule, without the slightest trace of fear. When Fei Chen did not understand why the other party was so fearless, Yang Kai took a step forward and said with a cold expression, "Even if you shout until you lose your voice, no one will come to help you." When Fei Chen's expression changed, what happened to them? They're all dead. Dead people naturally have no way to help you. Yang Kai laughed. When Fei Chen's expression suddenly became gloomy as he looked at Xia Ningchang in surprise. In his opinion, only Xia Ningchang could kill those separation and reunion boundary masters. A trivial Yang Kai did not have that kind of ability. What a miscalculation. He did not expect that this woman would still have the strength to fight. When he hit her a few hours ago, he clearly felt that she did not have the strength to resist. How could she recover so quickly? Even if they are all dead, don't think that you can escape from my hands. When Fei Chen coldly snorted, clearly not caring about the deaths of those people, Yang Kai took a step forward, the true Yang Yuan Qi in his body surging, his blood boiling, and his fighting spirit endless. Just as he was about to attack Wen Fei Chen, a beautiful figure flew out from behind him, heading straight for Wen Fei Chen. Xia Ningchang was the first to make a move. Moreover, it was a move that enveloped Wen Fei Chen. She clearly wanted to take care of the injured Yang Kai, so she wanted to fight 1 against 2. Her figure swayed, and 10 cold qi flew out, 7 attacking Wen Fei Chen, and 3 attacking Long Hui. Her speed was as fast as lightning, and her momentum was astonishing. Wen Fei Chen laughed loudly. This little girl's killing intent is not light, this is not good. As he spoke, his palms met Xia Ningchang's attack, and he easily neutralized it. He said, "Young Master Long, I'll leave that brat to you, I'll deal with this little girl." But Long Hui nodded and did not forget to remind him, "Don't hurt her face." "I know." When Fei Chen smiled meaningfully, and immediately joined forces with Xia Ningchang. Although Xia Ningchang had recovered 40% of his strength, he was still injured, and could only display the strength of the Qi transformation stage level 6 or 7. When Fei Chen was even worse, and could only display the strength of the Qi transformation stage level 2 or 3. But after all, the two of them had different realms. Xia Ningchang was at the peak of the separation and reunion stage, and had Yuan Qi in his body. When Fei Chen was at the Yuan Qi stage, and had Yuan Qi in his body. There was a fundamental difference between Yuan Qi and Yuan Qi. The former could display more destructive power than the latter. In addition, Wen Fei Chen's battle experience was much richer than Xia Ningchang's. In this exchange, Xia Ningchang felt that it was a little strenuous to deal with him. Although she wouldn't lose quickly, it was impossible for her to defeat Wen Fei Chen with her own strength. At most, it would be a draw. Both of them were experts, so the battle was also extremely intense. Their figures had already flashed 1,000 feet away in a flash. Yang Kai did not pay too much attention to Xia Ningchang's battle, because he also had his own opponent. Glancing at Long Hui, who was standing 100 feet away from him, Yang Kai suddenly chuckled, "Young Master Long, right?" Long Hui coldly said, "You want to beg for mercy? It's too late. I have a few questions to ask you." Long Hui looked at Yang Kai with a playful expression, and said casually, "If this is your last wish before you die, I can fulfill it." Chapter 112. You can take it that way? Yang Kai couldn't deny it and smiled. Looking at him, he said, "You really want to kill me because of Hu Mei Air?" Long Hui's expression was frivolous as he disdainfully said, "Otherwise, why do you think this young master has nothing better to do than follow you all the way here?" Yang Kai frowned, "But I don't have a deep friendship with Hu Mei Air. We've only met a few times." "Humph, maybe you don't have any feelings for her, but that slut doesn't have feelings for you." Long Hui's face showed a touch of anger. "For you, she even dared to disobey my grandfather. She has never done such a thing, nor has she ever done such a thing for a man. Who do you think you are, daring to have ideas about my woman?" "Your grandfather?" Yang Kai's eyes flashed a cold light as he remembered Long Zai Tian's unreasonable attack. At that time, if it wasn't for the unyielding golden skeleton playing a role and breaking free from Long Zai Tian's shackles, Yang Kai feared he would have already died. "There's one more question." Yang Kai's face was cold. "How did you know I left High Heaven Pavilion?" Since they could chase him all the way here, they must have left not long after he left High Heaven Pavilion. Otherwise, they would have lost track of him. In other words, when he left High Heaven Pavilion, he was already being watched. Long Hui chuckled, "Naturally, someone tipped me off." "Sure enough. As for who tipped me off, this young master doesn't know. But I think you should know who you've offended." Long Hui looked at Kai Yang with disdain, as if he was looking at a dead man. He didn't intend to hide anything from Kai Yang and told him everything he knew and didn't know. "As for Nu Lang, I didn't expect him to be here. I only found his tracks at the foot of the mountain." Yang Kai nodded slightly. Long Hui didn't need to lie to him. Since he said so, then it must be true. Nu Lang probably just chased after him by chance. There's no need to investigate further. In any case, he's already dead. This young master has already fulfilled your wish. Now die. Long Hui laughed sinisterly. His body flickered and he quickly closed the distance between him and Yang Kai. His eyes were filled with excitement. His Qi transforming stage first level Yuan Qi began to circulate and his fists fiercely punched out. With every swing of his fist, a feather-like attack shot out from the tip of his fist. Flying Feather Burst. A mid-grade earth-grade martial skill. As Long Zai Tian's grandson, Long Hui's status was not low, so the martial skills he cultivated were naturally not ordinary. It could be said that although he was also at the first level of the Qi transforming realm, his true strength was much higher than Nu Lang's. Long Hui wasn't just a lustful hedonistic young master. To the current Yang Kai, he was also a difficult enemy to deal with. As the feathers flew towards him, Kai Yang hastily dodged, causing Long Hui's attack to hit nothing but air. A trace of surprise flashed across Long Hui's eyes. In his opinion, Yang Kai, who was at the fourth level of the initial element realm, shouldn't be able to dodge his killing move. In the next moment, a fierce and brutal Yuan Qi fluctuation suddenly burst out from Yang Kai's body. Feeling the intensity of this Yuan Qi fluctuation, Long Hui's face changed. How was this the fourth level of the initial element realm? It was obvious that he had already reached the peak of the initial element realm. Based on the intensity of the fluctuation, he wasn't inferior to Long Hui's. Long Hui was surprised for only a moment. He had already rushed to Yang Kai's side. Yuan Qi surged on his fist as he ruthlessly punched towards Yang Kai from above. Yang Kai dodged again. This punch directly hit the ground, accompanied by a loud bang and a cloud of dust. Suddenly, a big hole appeared on the ground. Not waiting for Long Hui to get up, Yang Kai's dodging body suddenly came back. Raising his knee high, he fiercely aimed at Long Hui's chin. Long Hui's reaction wasn't slow. One of his hands formed a palm, blocking his chin and pressing it down. The knee hit the palm. Both of their Yuan Qi burst out. Yang Kai's body staggered. Long Hui was also sent flying backwards. Borrowing this force, he dissolved Yang Kai's attack. Both of them hurriedly stood still after exchanging one move. Sizing up Yang Kai, Long Hui narrowed his eyes. "So you've been hiding your strength all this time. But even so, you're still not my opponent." Before he finished speaking, Long Hui's figure suddenly blurred. A golden light flashed under his feet. In a flash, he appeared behind Yang Kai. Golden rainbow steps. It was another mid-grade earth-level martial art. Borrowing the speed of this miraculous footwork, Long Hui finally arrived at Yang Kai's blind spot. The Yuan Qi on his finger surged, and he stabbed towards the back of Yang Kai's head. Clearly, he wanted to kill Yang Kai in one strike. In this life-and-death situation, Kai Yang felt a gust of wind behind his head. Hurriedly, he tilted his head to the side. This finger grazed past Kai Yang's cheek. The sharp world Qi left a bloody scar on his face. Yang Kai turned around. A drop of Yang liquid had already appeared on his fingertip. In the next moment, it turned into a blood-red blade as thin as a cicada's wing. He fiercely swung it at Long Hui, who was close at hand. This was a strong opponent. Yang Kai didn't dare to hide his strength anymore. Any carelessness could cost him his life. The blade directly cut through Long Hui's body, splitting him in two. But Yang Kai didn't have the slightest bit of happiness. This was because he could feel that he hadn't hit anything. What he had just cut was only Long Hui's afterimage. His opponent's footwork was quite profound. Good reaction. Long Hui's voice came from more than 10 feet away. He calmly looked at Yang Kai. Yang Kai fiercely shook his hand, and the blood-red blade flew out with a schwa sound. Long Hui didn't dare to stop. He used the golden rainbow steps again to dodge. He looked at Yang Kai like a cat playing with a mouse. His face carried a trace of contempt and disdain. Without making a sound, Yang Kai's eyes were filled with unyielding determination and dense fighting spirit. He rushed in front of Long Hui and punched out. Nothing happened. Long Hui's figure had already appeared on the other side. You want to defeat me with your snail's speed? You overestimate yourself. Long Hui's mouth didn't rest for a moment. He was using all his ability to ridicule. He felt that by relying on the golden rainbow steps, he was already in an invincible position. If his opponent couldn't hit him, how could he win? His ferocious attacks would only waste his yuan qi. When his yuan qi was almost exhausted, it would be the time for him to kill him. So Long Hui decided to continue fighting with Yang Kai. When the time came, he would use the smallest price to win. Slow, too slow. If you can't kill me, then this young master will kindly accept your female companion. What does she look like? I'm really looking forward to seeing her scream when she's being ravaged. This young master loves to hear a woman's unwilling scream the most. Just thinking about that scene, does it make your heart ache? Chapter 113. It has to be said that even though Long Hui was a hedonistic young master, he knew how to infuriate the enemy and create an opportunity for himself to win. Every time he dodged Yang Kai's attack, he would mock him. If it was someone else, they would have been provoked to the point of insanity. Yang Kai looked the same. His eyes were scarlet red and his yuan qi was restless. It was obvious that he was very agitated. However, if one looked closely, they would discover that Yang Kai's eyes were very firm. Even if he was being ridiculed, his determination to win did not change one bit. After fighting for an incense stick's worth of time, Yang Kai did not know how many attacks he had made, but he did not even touch the corner of Long Hui's clothes. Long Hui's mouth was dry from all the ridicule, but he was also very surprised. Logically speaking, after fighting for so long, this guy should have lost some of his yuan qi, but why did his attacks not weaken at all? The amount of yuan qi in his body was not enough to support such a fierce attack. Long Hui was not wrong. A normal initial element cultivator would not be able to last this long without showing signs of weakening. However, Yang Kai was obviously not a normal initial element cultivator. Fighting a protracted battle with him was undoubtedly the wrong idea for Long Hui. While he was pondering, Kai Yang sent out another attack. Hurriedly, Long Hui dodged, but just as he was about to stabilize himself, he suddenly heard a piercing sound. A scorching hot attack had brushed past his waist and flew out. He lowered his head and saw that his clothes had been cut open. That attack just now had almost hurt him. What a pity! Yang Kai took a deep breath. The light in his eyes became more and more excited, but mixed with a trace of calmness. This was a rather contradictory look, but it was perfectly combined. How is this possible? Long Hui's expression changed. That attack just now was obviously an attack that the enemy had predicted where he would land and launched in advance. If it was not for his good luck, he would have been injured. But how did he predict where he would land? Could it be that in just an incense stick's worth of time, this Yang Kai had already seen through his golden rainbow steps? Impossible. He was only at the initial element state, so how could he have such a good eye? Next time, even if you don't die, you'll be heavily injured. Yang Kai looked at Long Hui coldly. Bullsh *T. Long Hui raged. You want to scare this young master? You're still too inexperienced. Yang Kai didn't say anything and just kept attacking. Long Hui was enraged. This time, he didn't use the golden rainbow steps to dodge. Instead, he met Yang Kai's attack with a punch. With a loud bang, Yang Kai's body remained motionless, as steady as a mountain. Long Hui, on the other hand, felt a surge of yuan qi invade his fist and staggered backwards. Long Hui no longer dared to clash head-on with Yang Kai. He hurriedly used the golden rainbow steps in an attempt to increase the distance between him and Yang Kai. Whoosh! A crimson water droplet suddenly flew out. The moment Long Hui stopped, it directly hit his right chest. Long Hui's face turned pale with fright as he clutched his right chest and gasped for breath. Blood immediately flowed out from the corner of his mouth as he cried out involuntarily, "Impossible, impossible, this is impossible." His golden rainbow steps had actually been seen through. Yang Kai's attack had hit his landing spot in advance, making it impossible for him to dodge. Moreover, this attack was so overbearing that it made people's hearts palpitate. Not only did it penetrate his common-grade high-grade defensive artifact, but it also entered his body. If not for his Yuan Qi blocking it, this attack would definitely have pierced through his body. Nothing is impossible. Yang Kai's expression was grave and stern as he quickly stepped forward. Long Hui didn't dare to stay any longer. He used his footwork and was about to run towards Wen Fei Chen while shouting, "Hall Master Wen, save me." The current Long Hui was panicking like a stray dog. His previous arrogance and calmness were completely gone. Just as he was about to land, a burst of pain came from his back. Long Hui directly fell flat on his face. Not waiting for him to get up, a big foot stepped on his neck. The strength of the foot was like a mountain pressing down on him. Long Hui kept struggling on the ground, but he couldn't turn around. "I am the grandson of Blood Group's deputy chief Long Zai Tian. If you let me go, I will give you money and women. Whatever you want, I will give you. If you kill me, it won't do you any good. It will only make you an enemy of my Long family." Long Hui couldn't resist. His mouth repeatedly begged for mercy. His back was facing Yang Kai, but his eyes were filled with incomparable resentment. "Young Master Long." Yang Kai took a deep breath. "Your screams are not pleasant to hear." Yes. Brother Yang is right. If you don't like it, I won't scream." Under the eaves, Long Hui didn't dare to not lower his head. "Then keep your mouth shut forever." Finished speaking, Yang Kai stepped on Long Hui's head. His entire face was on the ground. Crouching down, he punched Long Hui's neck. With a cracking sound, Long Hui's neck was broken. His eyes were wide open, filled with fear and remorse. With one hand holding Long Hui's corpse, Yang Kai stood up and quickly approached the other side of the battlefield. A moment later, Wen Fei Chen and Xia Ningchang's figures entered Yang Kai's sight. At this moment, the two were evenly matched. Neither was inferior to the other. One's strength was sealed, the other was injured. Yuan Qi hadn't recovered yet, so there was no way for them to display their full strength. The methods they could use were also reduced. But even so, this level of battle was much more intense than Yang Kai's experience. Their figures moved and flashed, as if they were invisible. Yuan Qi burst forth. The battle was very tense. Yang Kai watched from the side for a moment. He knew that if he faced Wen Fei Chen one-on-one, he wouldn't have much of a chance of winning. But now with Xia Ningchang, it was a 2-versus-1 battle, so it was hard to say. After watching for a while, Yang Kai already had a plan. He quickly approached Wen Fei Chen while holding Long Hui's corpse and shouting, "Hall Master Wen, look at who this is." Wen Fei Chen had already noticed Yang Kai's figure, but didn't dare to divert his attention to investigate. Naturally, he didn't know the details. Now that he heard this, he hurriedly turned his head to look and was shocked. "Young Master Long." At this moment, there was a big hole in Long Hui's chest. Blood flowed out. His neck was soft as if his bones were crushed. His head hung in front of his chest, lifeless. Long Hui was dead. Wen Fei Chen couldn't believe his eyes. This debauchee young master was at least a qi-transforming first-level cultivator. Moreover, he practiced many martial skills that made him drool. His fighting strength couldn't be underestimated. It was because Wen Fei Chen believed in his strength that he let him fight one-on-one with Yang Kai. But now he was dead? Babet. Wen Fei Chen secretly complained in his heart. It didn't matter if the other members of the blood group died. But Long Hui couldn't die. If he died, wouldn't Long Zai Tian be very angry? If this immortal ascension boundary expert blamed him, he wouldn't be able to bear it. Chapter 114. In a battle between experts, victory or defeat could be decided in a single thought. Long Hui's death had obviously disturbed Wen Fei Chen's state of mind. His hasty move had actually revealed many flaws. How could Xia Ningqiang miss this rare opportunity? Her beautiful eyes were cold as she crossed her palms and attacked with a killing move. Sensing that something was wrong, Wen Fei Chen tried his best to resist, but in the end he couldn't completely block it. The burst of qi exploded on his chest, immediately injuring him. Not waiting for him to have any more time to deal with Xia Ningqiang, Kai Yang had already lifted Long Hui's corpse in front of him. Charging into the battle between the two, a layer of flames ignited on his fist. Stealthily he punched Long Hui's armpit. Xia Ningqiang timely created pressure on Wen Fei Chen. Being attacked from both sides, Wen Fei Chen was actually flustered for a moment and his expression became awkward. With his current strength, he couldn't do anything to Xia Ningqiang, but if he attacked fiercely, he could seriously injure Yang Kai. However, Yang Kai shamelessly put Long Hui's corpse in front of him as a shield. Even if Wen Fei Chen had thousands of methods, he couldn't use them. If he wanted to hurt Yang Kai, he had to destroy Long Hui's corpse first. He had some misgivings. Shameless brat. Wen Fei Chen was furious. While struggling to resist the attacks of the two, he cursed, "The dead should be respected. You dare to treat young Master Long's corpse like this? Aren't you afraid of being punished by the heavens?" Yang Kai coldly snorted, "The ones who should be punished by the heavens are you. If you didn't force me, how could things have gotten to this point?" Wen Fei Chen was speechless. Speaking of which, these two people had only come to this mountain valley to search for natural treasures, and they hadn't offended anyone or offended anyone. Their group had chased after them from over 2,000 to 3,000 kilometers away with the intention of killing them, and they'd even used numbers to bully the weak. How could they have the qualifications to criticize them now? Amidst the commotion, Yang Kai finally found an opportunity to land a punch. While Wen Fei Chen was struggling to block Xia Ningqiang's attack, he hit him in the waist. In the blink of an eye, a total of 10 drops of yang liquid shot out like sharp blades. Wen Fei Chen let out a muffled groan and hurriedly stepped back. He looked in the direction of Yang Kai in horror and shock. He discovered that this young man's attack this time was actually several times more ferocious than that woman's. The hot yang qi poured into Wen Fei Chen's body, and a bloody hole appeared on his abdomen. Although he was not seriously injured, the injury was not light. Yang Kai's expression was dignified. He discovered that he had still underestimated this Yuan Qi realm expert. The power of 10 drops of yang liquid had actually failed to penetrate his body. Yuan Qi realm expert's Yuan Qi defensive power was indeed stronger than Yuan Qi. "Junior brother, be careful," Xia Ningqiang suddenly shouted. At the same time, Yang Kai discovered that Wen Fei Chen's eyes were flashing with a crazy murderous intent as he pounced towards him. He was finally completely enraged and wanted to attack him regardless of the consequences. The corners of Kai Yang's mouth slowly curled into a cold smile. He knew that once he used the yang liquid, he would definitely become Wen Fei Chen's first target. This was because his realm was lower than Xia Ningqiang's, but the killing power he displayed was stronger than his. If he was Wen Fei Chen, he would also make the same choice. Everything was within his expectations. Facing Wen Fei Chen's attack, Yang Kai didn't retreat. Instead, he quickly approached him. "Don't!" Xia Ningqiang anxiously shouted, but the two were approaching each other at an extremely fast speed. How could she stop them? "Stinking brat, you're courting death." Wen Fei Chen's tone was cold. He didn't hide his intentions at all. He raised his palm and directly blasted it towards Yang Kai. Taking a deep breath, Yang Kai's muscles suddenly tightened. His true Yang Yuan Qi was pushed to the limit this time. The bones in his body creaked, his hair flew in anger, and his skin turned blood red. It was as if he had gone mad. Boom! Wen Fei Chen's palm hit Long Hui's corpse. Like a watermelon being smashed open, Long Hui instantly turned into a pile of minced meat and directly exploded. Yang Kai, who was hiding behind him, was completely exposed. Wen Fei Chen once again struck out with his palm. This time, the target was Yang Kai, who had no protection. At this moment, a meaningful smile appeared on the faces of the two men. Under Xia Ningchang's horrified gaze, this palm blasted Yang Kai's chest without any fancy moves. It was very obvious that Yang Kai's chest suddenly caved in. Accompanied by a few crisp sounds of bones breaking, a mouthful of blood involuntarily spurted out. It turned into a blood mist and intentionally or unintentionally sprayed towards Wen Fei Chen, who was close by. How could Wen Fei Chen allow dirty blood to spray on his face? His figure flashed as he hurriedly tried to dodge. But before he could retract his palm from Yang Kai's chest, he shockingly discovered that the corner of Yang Kai's mouth once again appeared a miserable yet proud smile. With a bang, Yang Kai's hands tightly grasped Wen Fei Chen's wrist. Panting heavily, he stared at him with scarlet eyes. "You're dead." Wen Fei Chen's complexion greatly changed. He didn't expect this kid's vitality to be so tenacious. In other words, the yuan qi in his body had such a strong protective effect. Although his palm had seriously injured him, it didn't take his life as expected. But even so, an ordinary person shouldn't be able to resist after being hit by this palm. Why did he still have so much strength? Why did he not let go of him? How strong did his willpower have to be to do this? "Let go of me." Wen Fei Chen raised his other palm and was about to hit Yang Kai. But how could Xia Ningchang give him the chance to attack? In her anger, her beautiful hair fluttered, and the yin energy within a radius of several hundred feet was mobilized. Suddenly, a crystal-clear icicle appeared in front of Xia Ningchang, whistling through the air towards Wen Fei Chen. Before Wen Fei Chen's palm could land, it was directly penetrated by the sharp icicle. Accompanied by a scream, blood splattered everywhere. Roar! Yang Kai suddenly let out an extremely excited and loud roar. The yuan qi that was originally somewhat restless and violent surged even more fiercely. The yuan qi fluctuations that had been stable at the peak of the initial element realm were suddenly broken through by the determination to win and the frenzied desire to fight. At this moment, it actually had a breakthrough. The qi transformation realm. This wasn't the true qi transformation realm. It was only the fluctuations of the qi transformation realm emitted by the yuan qi. But at this moment, Yang Kai, in terms of combat power, was not inferior to anyone present. Sensing Yang Kai's sudden change, Wen Fei Chen felt as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. He used all his strength to try and pull back his hand, but he was unable to do so. His other hand was penetrated by Xia Ningchang's attack, and the heart-wrenching pain made his mood even more uneasy. With a "kacha" sound, Kai Yang had used all his strength to break one of Wen Fei Chen's fingers. 10 fingers are connected to the heart. How could this kind of pain be endured? In any case, Wen Fei Chen couldn't hold it in and immediately let out a miserable howl. Another "kacha" sound rang out, and Wen Fei Chen's blood-curdling screams rang out. Yang Kai laughed sinisterly and broke Wen Fei Chen's 5 fingers one by one. Then he suddenly pulled him down, and with a knee strike, broke his arm. Xia Ningchang didn't stay idle. He was worried about Yang Kai's injuries and ferociously attacked Wen Fei Chen from time to time. Welcome to Immortal Cultivation Audiobooks, your gateway to the mystical world of Xianxia. Dive into legendary tales of martial arts, spiritual growth, and immortal ascension. Here, we bring you full-length English audiobooks of the best Wuxia and Xianxia stories, from young prodigies to ancient sect wars. Perfect for fans of Against the Gods, martial world, and tales of demons and gods.